Like us on Facebook at Ɔdadeɛ Radio. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Ɔdadeɛ Radio. You can WhatsApp or call us on 0200 092925.
This is the breeze. This is the breeze. This is the breeze on Ɔdadeɛ Radio. This is the breeze on Ɔdadeɛ Radio.
Me infono so ye pe gentlemen. Ye pe besi na no zinzin. I can cry now waka 30. Uncle Bob say the mob sound zero. Ye pe be yin so on page my I call can na wa de no ko. The man warren ye rabasam kuwa ware.
You are listening to The Breeze, live on Ɔdadeɛ Radio.
Ɔdadeɛ Radio. Like us on Facebook at Ɔdadeɛ Radio. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Ɔdadeɛ Radio. You can WhatsApp or call us on 0200 092925.
You are listening to The Breeze, live on Ɔdadeɛ Radio.
Ɔdadeɛ Radio. Like us on Facebook at Ɔdadeɛ Radio. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Ɔdadeɛ Radio. You can WhatsApp or call us on 0200 092925.
You are listening to The Breeze, live on Ɔdadeɛ Radio.
Shining high, gather round, let's do it once again. I promise you will have a good time. Let's do it the best way that we know. Dancing highlight, calypso dancing, moonlight music. Let's come together to the limbo. Dancing highlight, calypso dancing, sunshine music. Let's come together to the limbo. Come on now, the sun is shining high. Gather round, let's do it once again. I promise you will have a good time. Let's do it the best way that we know. Dancing highlight, calypso dancing, moonlight music. Let's come together to the limbo. Dancing highlight, calypso dancing, sunshine music. Let's come together to the limbo. Dancing highlight, calypso dancing, moonlight music. Let's come together to the limbo. Dancing highlight, calypso dancing, sunshine music. Let's come together to the limbo.
And let me say a very good morning and thank you so much for tuning into Ɔdadeɛ Radio. We are live via the Zeno FM radio app this morning. And as well, we are live via the Zeno FM radio app. We are live via the Ɔdadeɛ radio app. You can as well listen to us live through our Facebook and YouTube streams, Ɔdadeɛ Radio. Good morning and welcome to Wednesday morning. It is just 10 minutes after 11 a.m. on the midweek edition of The Breeze. It's live on your radio via the Zeno FM radio app, via Ɔdadeɛ radio app. You are also watching us on YouTube and also on Facebook. This morning, let's stay interactive on our social media handles. On WhatsApp is 02092925, and on Facebook, Ɔdadeɛ Radio Ghana, Instagram, and on Twitter now X at Ɔdadeɛ Radio. So if you have any questions or comments, anything that you'd like to share with us this morning, you can keep sending them on our WhatsApp 02092925. So on behalf of the production team led by Mr. Johnny Adofeni, Ɔdadeɛ Zonda, and Ɔdadeɛ Edifico, my name is Joseph Okutu. You can as well refer to me as DJ Use. On the midweek edition of The Breeze this morning, we are very fortunate to be joined by one of our own. I'm referring to Ɔdadeɛ Steve Ababio of the 1985 year group. He's a professional travel and adventure a photographer and filmmaker. This morning we are going to have a very a friendly conversation to look at all that in the aspect of what he does, and in terms of entrepreneurship, if you are also designed to possibly get into that kind of business, what you need to do, what you need to know, what you need to take note of, all that, we are going to have a conversation on that in a bit. So don't forget, your comments and questions are welcome as always. 02000 92925. My guest is already seated, and let me take an opportunity to welcome him to the studio. Good morning, Senior, and welcome to our studios.
Good morning, and thank you so much for having me.
Okay, and I hope your journey here was quite okay.
Oh, by the grace of God.
Did you take time to look at what is happening on campus?
I did kind of go around a little bit, yeah.
Okay.
See, there's a lot of work going on.
Okay. So what do you take note of, particularly?
Oh, I think that there's a lot going on ahead of, I believe it's this weekend.
Yes, Speech and Prize Giving Day. Yes.
So, yeah, it's good to see lots of cleaning, lots of weeding, the usual.
Keeping the compound clean.
Yeah.
Okay. And, well, let's throw back a little bit to your years in Presec. Which house were you when you were in Presec?
I was in Clark House.
Okay, Clark House.
Yeah.
And any founding memories whilst you were in Presec?
Presec was, it was just one memory after the other, because I was here.
There was a lot more.
I was here for 7 years, so
okay.
It's just there's a whole lot. I don't know if we start to go into that, if we can finish.
Just give us one.
One. I guess one of the memories. I don't know if it is a fond memory, but definitely a memory. Was what we used to call Rablo.
Okay.
Were
you a striker?
You see, sixth formers and O level. People writing exam were fed at a different time.
Okay.
From the rest of the school, so the siren would be sounded differently.
Okay.
Instead of the normal. You get a Then you know that you see the people who are good at hurdles and all of that running across the hedges to get into the dining hall in time to get their food. That memory is always been a striking one.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. And I believe you had a favorite meal in the dining hall.
Dining hall.
You didn't have a favorite?
Master, the dining hall food. I don't know if you could really have a favorite, but.
But maybe one particular one that, out of the lot.
Out of the lot. I guess if you are talking about favorite in a negative way, probably will be green plantain and gas oil.
Okay.
Because the plantain they would cut and boil for us would be so many different colors. I think that normally is like
one
brownish, bluish, orangish, kind of thing. So
really?
Yeah, that was unique.
Okay. Did you have a nickname at the time?
Did I have a nickname?
Or were you given a nickname?
I was. I apparently when I got to Form 1, I resembled one guy whose nickname was Ion. So his nickname transferred to me, and I had that through my years here. Okay. And when I departed, my brother came and he picked it up from me as well.
Okay, so your brother also was in Presec?
Yes, he was in Presec for sixth form. For
sixth form, yeah. Okay. So what was the name again? Ion.
Yes.
Oh, okay. What about the name?
Like I said, it was inherited.
It was inherited.
Yes.
Okay.
It had. However, it was brought about was on the previous guy, not on me. Yeah.
Okay. And how was studies like? Did you have a favorite tutor? What subject did you study at the time?
I studied arts, and yes, we definitely had favorite tutors. Mrs. Achampong and what's the name of Mrs. She was a history teacher at the time. I'm trying to remember her name. There's also Miss Elizabeth Okran.
Okay.
The geography, our geography teacher, he too, I forget his name. But yeah, definitely history and English literature were among my favorites.
Oh, okay. That's great. But did you involve yourself in any sport activity?
Sporting activity, with the exception of shipping, not really.
Okay. So you were not mad like
I was a cheerleader on the sides.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You didn't have any skill.
Massa, we were the ones cheering you. We were the ones shooting Jama for you.
Let me open your mic. Now, welcome.
Yeah, thank you. He had no skills. Don't mind him.
We were the ones cheering for you to do well.
You are cheering me to do well. Ion, Charlie, long time.
Massa, why you dye your beard?
Oh, look at this. Let's consider. Because I'm looking younger than you, can't accept it.
This is new. Okay.
Wow. So, throwing up back again from Presec, how did you, take up this business until where you are now?
Well, I guess my father is somebody who was always very interested in gadgets, especially in photography in particular. And he traveled a lot. And every time he would travel, he would come back with many pictures of where he'd been. So even though we as children didn't get the chance to travel with him, through the images that he brought back, we got to experience a lot of the places that he had been to.
Okay.
So I guess that sparked the interest in me. So photography had always been an interest for me and a hobby from a young age.
From the work you do, I can presume that you've made a lot of travels,
Yes.
adventure, and what has been some of the experiences?
Oh, the experiences they've been many.
Many.
Many experiences.
Countless experiences.
Yeah, Uganda, Togo, Burkina Faso, Sierra Leone, Nigeria many times. I haven't been to Cote d'Ivoire yet. I'm looking forward to doing that. And also many trips to Sao Tome and Principe, where we've done some significant work and we continue to do some stuff there.
What about Ghana?
Oh, I think I've been length and breadth, up and down. I've been to all the four corners, you could say. I haven't been absolutely everywhere, but we're working on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, maybe what's your view about domestic tourism in Ghana? Do you think we've really explored that opportunity we have as a people in Ghana?
I think that, this is my opinion. It appears to me that we haven't really seemed to appreciate, at least on an official level, the true potential that domestic tourism has. And I would have hoped that the onset of the pandemic should have shone a light on that in particular, because when you have a sharp reduction in people from outside coming in, then you realize the value of the people that you have in the country. And I've always said that people are interested to go places if you show them what's available, what's possible, what is where, and what can be done. You'll be amazed at how adventurous people become. And thanks to social media, Instagram, Facebook, and so on and so forth, there's been a growing move of Ghanaians, taking the time to explore their country. So it has huge potential. Where officialdom can come in is in the fact that, take for example Kenya. Okay, if you go to Kenya, any attraction you go to, it's very clear that there's a price for foreigners and there's a price for Kenyans.
Okay.
And the price for Kenyans is significantly lower. So they're making efforts to encourage Kenyans to actually go out and explore their country and spend money in the different places. And I think if we did something like that, it would go a long way to help.
Oh, okay. But we don't have that as we speak in Ghana.
As we speak in Ghana, one of the biggest issues, accommodation is extremely high.
Okay.
And you can't really blame the hotels and the guest houses, because when you look at the kinds of taxes that they are required to come up with, they also have no option but to pass it on to the customer. So in that sense, that's something that I believe that government can look at And in a lot of cases also, it doesn't even have to be high-end accommodation. Ghanaians are beginning to warm to the idea of camping, so if you have areas where you just provide washroom facilities, provide bathing facilities, people are happy to come with their tents and explore the area, pay local people for food, pay local guides to show them around, and so on and so forth.
Let's talk about some of the services you offer as a professional travel and adventure photographer and filmmaker. I mean,
in other words, are you expensive?
So let's talk about your services. Because
am I expensive? Of course I'm expensive. Which per second will come and sit here and say that I am cheap?
I agree. I agree.
So
walk us through some of your services. And
this is an interesting question because in terms of services, if you are looking at services, then I would say I'm more of a corporate, a corporate photographer. I provide services to businesses, so if you're having a conference, we can cover that for you. If you need corporate headshots, we can do that for you. You may have a dignitary coming from somewhere that you need services where that person is captured throughout their visit in Ghana. You want somebody who's going to show up with all their batteries fully charged, somebody whose memory card is not going to die in the middle of the project, then you're looking at somebody like me. As far as travel and tourism is concerned, this is more of a personal passion project that I have taken upon myself, because I believe that people will go where they have seen. So if you show them somewhere in a certain light, they're more likely to go and visit. And I find it to be my contribution to nation building, in the sense that if people go somewhere and then go and use the services of a tour guide, that tour guide has a better standard of living, doesn't necessarily need to find himself on the streets in Accra selling dog chains, because he's making a living where he is. People who cook food in that location also now are getting customers, because you travel somewhere, you're going to have something to eat. And in certain cases where people have homes that they're willing to rent out a room to somebody to stay in for a night, and so on and so forth. These are all things that can build up in the rural areas and create a better standard of living for people than exists currently.
Okay. So in terms of the services and then what you do, maybe for instance, if someone wants to hire your services,
the question is what would you want to hire my services as? I guess Zonda can expatiate on that.
No, actually, my question is in a different light. I mean, yes, we should shine the spotlight on his services, but I actually also want to push him to tell us a bit more about how people can use photography, to sort of build their career or make money and stuff. What would you recommend in terms of how somebody starts and what they can do?
Photography is a difficult place currently, and I think it's going to get more difficult going forward. I myself have found myself reinventing myself over time. For example, I started out in shooting parties and weddings and so on and so forth. Over time, I realized that the amount of work required there and what people were willing to pay wasn't working out for what I had in mind for future going forward. So I moved more into corporate and focused on that. So if you want to develop a career in photography, I would strongly recommend that you build up your skills and focus on the corporate side of things, because they are going to need those services. Unfortunately, some of the threats coming up, for example, are AI. Now, some of the images that a company may want, they can literally create out of nothing using AI. So if you're now beginning in photography, you really, really need to count the cost, because equipment is expensive. You're going to have to get a camera, you're going to have to get lenses, you're going to have to get a computer and all of this. If after getting all of this, your work is supplanted by somebody on a machine producing the images via AI, you may have wasted your money. So you really need to do your research well.
Okay, so let's say I'm young and reflecting back to where, let's say, when you were in school, your father sort of kind of, stirred up your interest because he used to bring back pictures and stuff.
Yeah.
If you're a young person who has the slightest interest in photography, what areas should you look at to be able to sharpen your skills?
See, I think that I guess the first place you should start from is that photography is not an end in and of itself. Why are you interested in photography? That's really where you should start from, because your interest should drive your passion. So, for example, why am I interested in photography? Because I want to showcase my country. And for me, the best way to do that is through photographs. Somebody else may approach it through videography and so on and so forth. So people have reasons for doing, but the question is, what are you intending to do with your photography? What are you intending to achieve with your photography? If you can answer that question for yourself, then that's your first stepping stone, and that's where you build from.
Okay, because I've seen recently, mostly on CNN, that even in the medical profession, those who are looking like they go under the ocean, some people are in the sky, specific areas that kind of like stirs up.
Yes.
So I might be a science student, but I'm in the medical field. Can photography be something I can take on that allows me to go, or I can just pursue photography and branch into those things?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, for example, I know of qualified nurses, for example, who are also professional photographers, and they're professional photographers within their field, providing services within the nursing and medical field. So because they also have knowledge in that area, they are positioned to be able to provide those services, and they know what to do to a certain extent better than somebody else coming from, say, the architectural field, looking into do photography within the medical field. So I feel that to a certain extent, it is where you are and what you're passionate about that drives what you use your photography to do, because photography is broad. So pretty much anybody can get into it if you really have the passion and desire to learn the technical aspects of it. But the issue is, what are you using the technical aspects of it to achieve?
Because also you realize that, for example, when we were way back in school, we had something that we did, typing. So we went there, we would go and type, but we would never learn how to type. So I'm just wondering whether is our system really helping people to nurture that kind of thing they have in photography, or just like because you have the interest and passion, you go into photography, or can it be, kind of?
Is it even a case of, because in certain cases, is it really that people have the interest and passion, or they've seen it being done, so it's like, this looks like something I can do?
When we were growing up, that's what we used to do. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a pilot. It's not because, it's just something you
very quickly, the field narrows. You want to be a pilot. If you wear glasses like me, you'll be disqualified.
Yes.
If you want to be a doctor and the sight of blood makes you faint,
yes,
immediately disqualifies you.
But also then you need certain qualifications, certain skills that allows you to even to be able to do it.
This is true.
So that's why I'm saying, if somebody is in school at this time, what area should he be looking at that allows him to jumpstart that career?
Most especially as we have the Ɔdadeɛ multimedia boys, most of them all want to hold a camera, want to take shots, want to take video coverages. Everybody want to do something.
But
with photography.
You need something extra than that allows you to be able to say,
You need, fundamentally, you need to have an eye.
Okay.
You need to have an eye, and when I say have an eye, it means that there should be a certain perspective that you have that you are able to capture, and that's what makes your picture stand out. That eye can be developed. You can learn how to develop that eye, because for many people it doesn't come naturally. I was passionate about photography, but I had to learn how to develop my eye, because otherwise what you're going to end up doing.
I was in the same industry with you, where one of our slogans was an eye for detail.
Yeah.
Right? And watching you back then, I had no clue about your interest in photography. But then gradually I saw situations where you had to go and do pictures for certain corporate people. And then I started seeing that, this guy, and then you gradually moved in there.
Yeah.
So if you didn't have this initial, thing where you nurtured from when you were much younger, at that stage you aren't going to be able to do it.
Yeah, I did nurture from when I was younger, but the truth of the matter is that it's also, I took a course with the New York Institute of Photography, and that's really where, I mean, because that takes you through reasons why pictures
so you can
are
go through a course, you can learn something
yes.
that enhances your ability to.
You actually should.
Yeah.
Even if you think you know it, you really should, because it helps bring you structure, it helps develop your focus going forward, and it will also help you have an idea of which area you want to be in, because like you were saying before, photography is a very broad area. There's so many different areas. I mean, I'm friends with people on Instagram who are pilots and they do photography. They have a unique perspective because they can take pictures from the cockpit, they take pictures of themselves landing, taking off, and so on and so forth. Perspectives which I would not have. So people in different areas can have different perspectives which can, work well for them. So you have to, you should hone your skill formally, but you should also have an area that you're interested in, where you want to build up.
Okay, let me ask a connecting question. Photography and filming, the connection, and what we see now in our industry, where we see a lot of movies, but then clearly you can see that these people, they are in a hotel, they are filming. The hotel has this a card, and instead of them they are claiming they are in their own private homes, but you can see clearly they are in the hotel room. And then so you keep wondering that do we have people who are really in this industry, or they are just taking it up? What's the connection?
In every area you have different levels of skill and ability and so on and so forth. To a large extent, unfortunately, the way the Ghana film industry has grown, you have a lot of people producing maybe 6, 7, 8 films in a week. And if that is the case, then clearly the level of expertise that's going in there is not very deep. But there are also very solid directors who have come out with very solid work over the years, and whose productions take time and effort to produce. The issue also is that I don't know if you've noticed, but there's some movies that when you watch, you see at the end of the movie supported by the Georgia state something, or supported by Canada, the state of Alberta, or something like that. You see, when you see that at the end of the movie, it means that that particular area has put some money into that production. That area has invested in the production because they see that this production brings a certain positive light to them and some of the things that they are interested in promoting. We need to get to the point where we are also doing that to a large extent, where maybe you could have the Western region supporting a particular type of production, or Volta region supporting a type of production. I'm not sure when we're going to get to that point, but that's something that we need to get to.
So is there a connection between like the photography and the film industry?
There's always a connection. Filming is basically, so a photograph is a frame that you look at. Every film is a series of photographs that have been captured in quick succession. So the principles tend to be the same. So you will see that somebody who has an eye who captures a photograph, and somebody who has an eye who captures a movie, their work is very different from somebody who just picked up a camera and pointed it.
Okay. Because you see that at the end of the movie, they even have photography.
Yes.
And there are names there.
Yes.
So I'm assuming that even in the promotion of the movie itself, some pictures would have to be taken.
That's also true. You have two things. You will have a still photographer on the set of the movie, but you also have the director of photography, who is not. When they say director of photography, means the person who is in charge of all the movie cameras on the set, shooting the different angles.
Okay.
Not that person is a still photographer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That's really clear, because I've always thought that, I mean, that director will be in charge of still photos. And but you have the combination of the two, a photographer and a filmmaker. Some other people also, I mean, do photography alone.
Yes.
Okay, I was going to add a question to it.
So
when we were in school, remember we had something,
Dix,
and all those people who were old time, photographers. Now we see so many photographers who, when they take the picture, no, they go and print for you. So, I mean, what is your view on the kind of photographers we have then and now? And, going forward, what should we really expect?
That's an interesting question. I honestly, it's a difficult one to answer. You see, people like Padix did not have, like right now, one of the things that you will notice is a person holds a camera. They point the camera, they click the shutter, and then they look at the back of the screen. They like it or they don't like it, and then they click again, and then look at the back of the screen. You see, people like Padix and all of that were using Rolleiflex and other. They
didn't have the opportunity.
You don't have the opportunity to see whether what you took it was working or not. You had to know if your exposure was correct. You had to know if it was good or not, because at the end of the day, you leave the place, you go and print, and then you bring, and before you make your money. Your money is not made at the point of the capture. Your money is made at the point of the print. So you had to have that technical skill. There was no way around it. Right now, people, because of the nature of digital photography, people don't have the skill, but they insist on being in that space, which is not necessarily a bad thing because you can build the skill that way. The other step then becomes, okay, so if you're doing that, if that's your hustle to provide pictures for people, what is your means of printing? Is it that how are you printing? And your choice of printer determines whether your photos will last or not. Because I'm sure I know I have some of the pictures from back then. I still have the hard copies, and they're still, they still work.
Only hard copies. We had what they used to call the
film.
The film.
Yeah.
You keep
film.
it and reprint.
Yes.
Now we don't have
you
that.
Have the negatives.
That was the word. Negatives. Yes.
Well, right now the negative is digital, and the challenge with digital is that digital technology keeps moving. So once upon a time, we're using floppy disks. Then we move from floppy disks to CDs and DVDs. Yes. Now we are on pen drives and hard drives and so on and so forth. Who knows what we'll be using 10 years from now? The cloud is also trying to come in and all of those kinds of things. So you have to adjust how you store your negatives, so to speak, if you want them to last. You have to be thinking about that now as you are building up your career, because how am I going to be storing my information? Am I storing it in the cloud? Am I keeping it on a series of pen drives? Am I keeping it on a series of disks? Am I keeping it on a series of hard drives? What am I doing? You have to make those decisions.
They say a good photographer is as good as his equipment, the camera. What is your view of the equipment you use and its impact on your work?
The equipment is a tool, really. At the end of the day, the equipment is a tool. So you pick what you need for a specific job. But there are also times and places where you can't carry a whole lot. So in those times, you use the best camera you have is the camera that's available. Sometimes that happens to be your phone. So if you're a photographer, you probably want to get a phone that takes better than average photographs and does better than average video. So you have to be flexible in what you do. And in certain cases, you may trip and fall and break your lens. That should not be the end of the assignment, technically, if you are somewhere shooting. So you have to be versatile.
Yes, because I remember there was this Canadian who trained us, when we started radio and wanted to do documentaries and stuff, and it was called Mulberry, I think, came from Canada. And basically all he said is that you needed your phone. To start with, and you can do everything with it. Just that when you want different levels in quality, that is when you really go for
absolutely
different. But Ion, just quickly, I know we're one of the top professionals in this industry as we speak. How many press seconds are in there, and do you guys come together? Do you do anything together? And a leading question on is, how are you guys going to help the young ones?
That's actually a very good question. I honestly don't know. I do not know many other press seconds in this particular field. I'm sure they're there. I'm sure they're there. It's just that I don't think we've actually reached out on the level of photography specifically to make that connection. So I guess from here, that's one of the things that we can do. And as far as photography is concerned, I'm always available to answer questions on my Facebook page, on Instagram. I always say that don't come and say hi.
What is the hi for?
Yeah. If you have a specific question, come and ask the question. I will take my time. I will look at your question. I'll answer it to the best of my ability. And if it's a particular issue or problem, I'll try and help you resolve the problem. But there has to be something that you are saying. Because for me, social media, it's not for small talk. It's for business. So when you have an issue, please feel free. Come and ask the questions, and we'll be happy to help.
So as Joseph mentioned, we have a multimedia club. We've been trying to train them for a very long time. There's a teacher here who heads the multimedia club. He has a studio and everything. They don't know about people like you, and obviously you can be a good mentor, a good role model. And we would like to tap into that. So we know you are very busy, you travel around, but it might be one of the areas that we have to call on you for. And how best do you think you can help us in this?
Yeah, that's a conversation that we can have. Like you said, there's a lot of travel and all of that goes on, but everything is a conversation. So that's how things start. It's like, okay, how can we make this work? Let's look at timing. Let's look at and this is the age of technology. I mean, you don't necessarily even have to physically be in a place to interact with people in that place. So there are all kinds of options that we can look at.
We need some of your old cameras to let them start clicking in.
There's no such thing as old cameras.
You use everything.
I work my cameras until they die. Then I get another one.
So they die completely.
You see, I'm a travel photographer. I move a lot and I sweat a lot. So what happens is that when I sweat, it goes into the body of the camera.
Actually, you have reduced in weight, pal. But you used to be muscle and imposing.
We have moved into movement.
Okay. You used to pump iron. I think that's where you even got the name from iron. You see him,
I asked him about it. He said,
if you see his shoulder and
he said he adopted the name.
You adopted it. He used to lift weights.
As for that one, every young man.
I've never lifted weights.
You were a runner, so your training regime was different.
Charlie. Anyway, so coming back to our media club, I mean, apart from asking for equipment and stuff, the training program where the basic steps and the things that we need to teach them, and it's not only about even the ethics, the discipline, those kind of things where you can come and have a talk. Be a 1 hour talk 1 month, in a month, come and give a 1 hour talk to our club people so that they can pick up the right attitude, the right mentality, so that as they are growing, because I think you probably learned it the very hard way, but they don't have to make the same mistakes.
Yeah, well, I think I had the advantage in that before I became a professional photographer, I was already working in business. I worked as a marketing manager for several years, worked as a general manager in another company for several years. So you learn some of those things, and you learn the value of being who you say you are and doing what you say you'll do. There's no substitute really for that integrity. And it's not unique to photography. It is a factor of character. It cuts across. Everybody should have that. It's one of the things that we are losing as Ghanaians as we go through. So yeah, these are things. These are really base things that people need to know, and if we can teach them at an early age, absolutely.
In Ghana, is there something like taking a professional exam to become a professional photographer?
No, currently there isn't.
But is it something that is done in other places?
It's something that is done in other places. Other places. You can take a exam, especially because there are structured courses in schools. So you can literally take a course, which supposed to. In fact, in tech, the part of the College of Art, one of the courses is photography. So it's actually an elective that you can take and write exams and things towards. So it's a choice that you can make, but not doing that doesn't also remove you from the possibility of being in that field.
Because I know in some schools in their sixth form, they offer photography.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, I think my sister did something like that somewhere. But that was an extra course she took. But I actually don't know it as a fact.
Yeah.
Are there schools that give courses that you can? Because how do you know you can go and do photography, let's say in tech? What course do you need to do? What course do you need to do to be able to say I can go and do photography?
You need to be in the College of Art.
So you must draw. Then take
Well,
an art
yeah,
exam.
what I think what is called is communication studies, communication design. So in the school of graphic design, photography is one of the courses.
That's
offered.
at the university level.
That's at
But
the university level.
Before
yes.
you get there, what courses do you need to do?
Before you get there, I mean, if you're an artist, then you can end up in communication design. I wasn't as much of an artist, but I did publishing. But I took photography as an elective. I didn't take it far, but at least I started it.
But you didn't do art as in
No.
a subject.
No.
So what subject did you do?
What did I do? I did literature, geography. What else did I do?
Yeah, you're cutting classes. You don't even remember your own courses. You're cutting classes
The important thing is
cutting classes.
I think some of the teachers were cutting more than we the students.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Bringing you back to domestic tourism, I think you mentioned that domestic tourism has the power to boost rural livelihoods and lift people out of poverty through opportunities that is created. Can you explain a bit about this aspect?
Okay. Let me use myself and use a specific project that I have been working on.
Okay.
Myself. We've done a project on waterfalls in Ghana.
Mm-hmm.
The idea was that waterfalls are an interesting feature. This is something that people are interested in seeing. I found out that any 4 or 5 people that I asked, how many waterfalls do you know about in Ghana? Most will give me 3 or 4. And so we hit the road to see how many we could find. And as a result of that adventure, we produced a book that has about 30 of them. And that 30 is not even exhaustive. There are so many more that have come up or that we found out about after we published the book. So what we did was we published a coffee table book and we published a guide. So this is the guide. And this is the coffee table book.
Okay.
So these are available for sale. The idea is that buy the coffee table book as a perfect gift for people you want to introduce Ghana to. But if you want to actually get out there and see what's available, you want to get a copy of the guide. Now, the reason why the guide is important is that we give you information on the different locations. We give you an idea of what the difficulty level is like. But we also have, on each location, we have a QR code that gives you the specific location of where it is.
Oh, wow.
So you can sit down at home and plan a series of trips and get out there on your own.
Oh, okay. This is beautiful.
Okay.
This is really beautiful.
So in doing this, that means that you help the local people in a certain way that also helps improve their livelihoods.
Exactly, because now you have a reason to go there.
Okay.
You have a reason to go there because there's something there you want to see, there's something that you want to experience. And when you go, you pick a guide. A guide takes you to the place, you buy food locally, and so on and so forth. So you help build the local economy.
Oh, okay. Please tell us a little bit about the team you work with. I'm sure that you have a team that you work with.
I have a team that I work with, the Destination Africa crew.
Okay.
We've done a lot of work together across Ghana. It comprises of other creative photographers and videographers. It also includes very skilled planners and events professionals, because we're looking at these unique locations and saying, what are some of the things that can be done there that can draw people there, that can also earn money for some of these locations. So the team in that sense has been It's been an interesting one. Has been people who are tough and don't give up on things easily, because in all of this, we've pretty much self-funded everything that we've done. The travel and the photography and the design and all of that. We've had very good support from places like Type Company Limited, who printed the books, and we're very grateful to them for that. But of course, with everything like this, you can use a little bit more support.
Yes, I was about to ask you, do you get any support from the tourism, sector? Government? Is there any way you can?
I realized very early on
grants?
that there are things that I want to do, and I also realized early on, if I say that these things that I want to do, if I'm going to rely on government support, it's not going to happen. So what I can do with what I have available to me is what I'll get out there and do, and that's what we've done so far.
But there are grants and support from some of these international.
Yeah, but you see, what tends to happen is you have to know who to speak to about what, and that's where we've had some challenges. So if you would connect us to people who are in certain positions and able to influence,
No
things,
use for connecting. Look at this man. Okay, so Steve, I think that we are running out of time, but assuming somebody wants to get in touch with you and wants to use your services, what should the person do? How do they get in touch with you and stuff like that?
WhatsApp me. Very simple, very straightforward. 020-112-1746. WhatsApp me. Like I said, don't come and WhatsApp me and say hi. WhatsApp me with a question or with an issue. And
and if they want to follow you on social media?
On social media, Steve.Ababio on Instagram, Steve.Ababio.5 on Facebook. Instagram, I think, is where I have the most things going on. Steve.Ababio, and then I also have African food photographer on Instagram. I have African landscape photographer on Instagram. I have architects photographer also on Instagram.
So you've broken it down into the various areas.
Into different areas, so that I can.
So it's architecture, there's food, and what?
And there's general travel.
Okay, travel. You don't do anything with the art, what they call them. Can't remember, but those who are doing music and dancing.
The creative arts.
The creative arts, sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, not really.
Not really.
Okay.
So you don't work with any of our musicians and stuff like that?
No.
How about maybe local movie production? Have you ever featured as a
No, I
filmmaker
mean
in-
we've put
local
together.
production?
I mean, if you go onto YouTube, you can go to YouTube and look for the Destination Africa Project. The Destination Africa Project is our YouTube channel. So
And that's your initiative?
that's my initiative.
Okay.
Yes. So all the video work that we've done is on YouTube under the Destination Africa Project.
Okay. There's an issue I really want to bring it up because I see on Facebook you comment on that a lot. And that is the issue of, I don't know what to call it, piracy. There's a word for it. When people take your work and what do you call it?
Yeah,
You've talked a lot about that. Can we?
It is.
Is it
it
piracy?
is-
Piracy?
It is.
I just said piracy, but there's another word. I can't remember what. So anyway, what has been your beef? What are your recommendations? What would you say should be done? And what is really happening?
What needs to happen really is that
Tell us what has been happening first, because I know people.
What's been happening is that people go online, look for specific images that suit whatever it is they want to do. They download it and stick it into their commercial.
So are you referring to copyright or
Something like
Yeah,
that.
Something like
it
that.
has to do with
Yes,
copyright.
right, yes.
Okay.
It has to do with copyright because people go and take work that they didn't create and use it for their commercial whatever. Usually, photographers won't have a problem if somebody takes a picture and posts it on their page that, oh, this was a nice picture taken by this person at this place. But if you take my work and put it in your business flyer or whatever because you think it illustrates what you need to put out there, that's your thinking is not right. Because if you think this work illustrates exactly what you need, then get in touch and pay for it, because it costs something to actually create that work.
But don't you
the
think
way
it's
saw it.
because Ghanaians really don't know and that there must be some level of education to let people understand. You can't just take anybody's word.
I don't think they don't know. You don't be walking down the street and decide that I'm hungry, so I've picked the chicken. I'm going to eat it. You don't know who does that. It's the same mentality. Nobody does that.
No,
So
but
it's not that they don't
they've done
know.
it for so long
Yes.
that they don't realize that we've gone past the age where you can just go onto the internet, take anybody's work. You used to happen with music as well.
And that's because, you see, the only way to draw attention to it is to make noise.
Okay.
That's why you've seen me commenting, so often. And when I see it done to somebody, I take it up very strongly because it's something that we have to change. And it's something, it's theft, bottom line, is what it is. And we need to change that mentality and that type of behavior.
We have some comments and.
Okay, just let him land properly on this
all
thing.
right.
Because it's something I see him talk a lot about. So what do you think should be done?
I think that the legal framework needs to be established, and it needs to be established firmly.
By who?
See, the copyright laws need to be enforced in a certain way. Unfortunately, we have a situation where sometimes even when you take a case, even the lawyers don't really understand the seriousness of copyright law and the way it needs to be addressed. So we need to educate ourselves along those lines, generally as a people.
Okay, because of time, I had more things to ask you, but please go ahead and take the messages.
We have this one coming from Irene Quasing. She wants to know if she's in tourism. She wants to know where she can get some of your falls guidebook, waterfalls guidebook. Is it on sale?
It's on sale. It's available at a number of locations. M-Sims at Osu, the Shop Accra in Osu, Akwaje. Okay. It's available at Sun Trade Beads at Asylum Down. You can also pick up a copy from Kua in Laboni. There's also copies at the National Museum as well, and I believe that there are copies at Elmina and Cape Coast Castles as well.
Okay. Irene is also asking, do you have a website?
Currently, we're using social media more.
Media. Okay.
Yes, we're trying to revamp our website to cover a lot of the things we're doing internationally.
Okay. Irene, thank you so much for your messages. And on Facebook, Senior Difiko has sent a couple of messages. He says he's watching from New York. Greetings to Steve, great guy, true professional. And he added that Miss Jackson and Miss Ankara were our history tutors.
Yes, Miss
And
Ankara.
and then Kofi Esubontin says, when I grow, I want to grow your beard some. This is a professional beard. And Senior Difiko is also asking a question for Steve. Domestic tourism must be private sector driven. Does he agree?
Absolutely, 100%. Absolutely, because private sector is where the ideas are. So that's where the ideas and the passion are. So yes, it must be private sector driven.
Okay.
Yes. Can I?
Yeah, you can go now.
So I wanted to ask about the year of return. Are you involved in it? And if you are not, why? And I know every December we have people trooping in. Are you tapping that?
So far, no. And no, because from my little experience, I have found it to be a little. I've realized that when things have a little bit of a political connection to them, and for me, that has always been a stumbling block, because I want to move far and I want to move fast. So I tend to do what I need to do without dealing with those types of situations.
Okay.
So I mean, to the extent that people who come to Ghana want to know more, that's why we've made the books available. Okay. So they're available. Go by. We'll do what we can in other areas as well.
Okay. But you haven't had anybody coming from the year of return who says, "Steve, I love what we are doing. We want to work with you on the project." You haven't had that sort of thing.
It hasn't happened.
Wow. Okay, so very quickly, what Presec? Why haven't you worked with Presec on any of their stuff in terms of photography? I see them; they are doing books, magazines, taking pictures. How come you are? Is that they don't know about you?
Even a ceremony.
Yes. How is that they don't know about you?
No, but you see, the thing is that they've been doing perfectly fine.
Okay.
Without
So?
me, I mean,
So? We have to use our own. Why are we not using our own?
I didn't know that we were not using our own. I thought that everybody were using was from the Ɔdadeɛ family, because I know that. I mean, how many years has it been since I finished Presec? A lot of people have come up through the system since then.
Yeah, but Steve, you are one of our top. You are one of the top photographers in Ghana. In Presec, we are proud of our, our brand, and therefore we would like to see. We have people like the architects. We have the Nayos and people who have made a name out there, and when they are working on projects, they are here working with us. So I mean, I'm asking, why are you not on any of the things that we've done?
Probably because, I mean, Presec and what Presec does has been different. So, for example, I've been working with very, 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 very key Presec, CB Asante. But CB Asante is in the tourism business. So, as far as the things that he is doing are concerned, I have been very active in that scope. It's just that I guess the nature and scope of where I have found myself has not made it, that synergy has not been there. That's what it is.
So that's what I'm trying to, how do we do this? We have to be able to do it. What can you bring on the table? I mean, I know your work is there, but I mean, you have to step up and come on.
That's an off-air conversation that we need to have.
Because this one, I don't see how you can be sitting somewhere and that you are looking on as if you are unconcerned. Steve? You're saying we're conversation, we have to have that conversation. What do you think about our studio?
I think it's beautiful. I'm very impressed. It's very well put together.
So you realize I've been calling you, I haven't been coming. You realize that you owe us money.
Johnny,
I've been calling you for a long time.
You haven't been calling me for this one. You've been calling me for so many.
You see this man?
You want to corner me? She says this office. It's not going to work.
So, I mean, so Ɔdadeɛ Radio, we are trying to bring all Presecans together, push the brand, but also make sure that we network, and then try and mentor the younger ones that come. This is our mentoring center, so you have to tap into this energy, and we look forward to having you come on board, and we'll have another conversation on the way forward.
Excellent.
Yeah. We are grateful. Thank you for coming.
I want to ask you about his closing remarks and possibly an advice to
the younger
generation, the students, especially those who are into
younger generation. I would say the focus, if you really want to be into photography and media, your focus should not be photography itself. What do you want to achieve with it? What do you want to do with it? It's a tool. Okay, so what are you doing with the tool? For somebody, they are looking at different types of hammers. Somebody is looking at a sword. Somebody is looking at it's a tool. So what are you trying to achieve with it? I think that's the most important aspect of it, and that's what will take you far. So that's where you need to start your thing. Don't think just picking up a camera, taking a picture. Oh, it's nice, it's not nice. That's not what's important. What's important is, what do you want to do with this particular tool?
Well, we'll engage you again so that you can have a conversation with our multimedia club. Where you can speak to them, encourage them, motivate them, and help them, in terms of their focus and everything.
Be delighted.
Once again, I'm grateful for your acceptance, coming to us together at short notice. I'll be calling on you again, but you will drop some coins today. You will drop coins. You understand? Yes. Steve, thank you very much.
Thank you very much,
Right,
Senior Steve. Thank you so much. We are so much grateful for you making time to join us this morning into the afternoon.
You are listening to The Breeze, live on Ɔdadeɛ Radio. You are listening to The Breeze, live on Ɔdadeɛ Radio. This is The Breeze.
All right, so we'll end it here this afternoon. Thank you so much, all those who joined us on Facebook and YouTube with your comments and questions. We are so grateful. Especially to our guests, Ɔdadeɛ Steve Ababio of the 1985-year group. For our invitation to join us on the midweek edition of The Breeze this afternoon, a professional travel and adventure photographer and filmmaker. He said a lot. He has a book out. You can check him out on social media. And also his books on the guidebook Falls in Ghana. He will take us through that aspect once again. And then where we can get a book, his contact, his social media handles, and all that, just in case you want to reach out to him. So, Senior Steve, if you want to go through that once again quickly.
Okay, so social media is steve.ababio.5. That's on Facebook.
Okay.
On Instagram is at steve.ababio. And also at african.food.photographer. There's also african.landscape.photographer.
Okay.
And architects photographer on Instagram.
Okay.
On YouTube,
yes,
you can find us at the Destination Africa Project. You have to add the project.
Okay.
Destination Africa Project. You see that our logo is like a sea view with a yacht type of situation. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And then a contact that we can reach you on?
You can reach me on 020-112-1746. Yes. Okay. Send me a WhatsApp. Send me a WhatsApp with a question or a query, and I will do my best to respond.
But don't send hi.
Don't send hi. Please.
When he was young and getting married, they look at him. I believe his history.
Okay.
I don't know why I'm going there, Zonda, but it's okay.
Thank you all so much. Once again, you can reach Ɔdadeɛ Steve Ababio on 02011217746. You can check out some of their great works on YouTube as the Destination Projects. Thank you once again for being a part of our program. God willing, you are back on Friday morning at 10. My name is DJ. You enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
You are listening to The Breeze, live on Ɔdadeɛ Radio. You are listening to The Breeze, live on Ɔdadeɛ Radio. You are listening to The Breeze, live on Ɔdadeɛ Radio. You are listening to The Breeze, live on Ɔdadeɛ Radio.